Where are the supply lines? Where is all this coming from? Do you think Iran will run out of missiles soon? What is happening, sir?
Is you can start the war, but you do not know what would be the outcome, the result, and when will it be over. So in both the cases, it will result on how long can you sustain. For Iran, you have rightly brought out the way they are bombing, they are firing missiles, the way they are firing drones.
We are assuming because during the Ukraine-Russia conflict, Iran helped with drones, sir. They gave these drones to Russia. North Korea gave manpower, sir. China gave money through oil, etc.
And second thing is, Iran is the only country now in Middle East which Russia can bank on. If Iran goes, Russia loses all the bases and US will have total control. Iran's oil and this
90%, sir. 90% of Iran's oil goes to China.
So imagine if Iran goes, so that it will be I think like clipping the wings of China by USA by taking away Venezuela and
so first if Syria goes, that clips the wings of Russia.
Yeah.
Then Venezuela goes, and by extension also China, and now Iran, sir. Huge damage to China if that happens.
How long can their missile last if they keep getting missiles through land route or sea route or whatever route they get? I mean, then US is in for big trouble. I think there are a couple of options are there.
Sir.
What I feel is one is through Pakistan.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir.
Pakistan.
China-Pakistan economic corridor, sir.
Anything is possible. Anything is possible in this world of diplomacy and intelligence. And Pakistan would say, I didn't know. I will close his eyes to these containers who are going. And though it's very difficult in the present environment, but this Pakistan is known to betray anybody and everybody. There's no doubt in my mind. If it happens, it can be through Pakistan, which is one of the possibilities. If 5,000 people die, 10,000 people die, it doesn't make any difference.
Yes, sir.
But in America, if 500 people, 500 body bags go, or in Israel, 500 people die,
elections.
and it will be a major crisis, and then it keeps going. It will not end.
Hello and Jai Hind, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the Daily Brief by DefenceHQ. I have with me Major General Sanjay Soi. Sir, Jai Hind and a very warm welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Gaurav, for inviting me.
Sir, I'll get to it straight away. You know, Iran on one side, sir, and then you have US and Israel on the other side. Do you think Iran could be running out of missiles and drones because this is a high-intensity conflict? Everybody, I mean, all the other partners, whether it's Israel or US, they're bombing one country, sir. That is Iran.
Yes.
Iran is bombing everybody else. Iran is bombing 8 to 9 countries at once, sir. And it's continuously attacking everything from, or every location, I should say, sir, every location from Oman till Cyprus. It's bombing almost every day, every single day. There is something or the other happening. Where are the supply lines? Where is all this coming from? Do you think Iran will run out of missiles soon? What is happening, sir?
In fact, I would say that just one line to start with initially is you can start the war, but you do not know what would be the outcome, the result, and when will it be over. So in both the cases, it will result on how long can you sustain. For Iran, you have rightly brought out the way they are bombing, they are firing missiles, the way they are firing drones. And every country has a limited stockpile. No matter how many they may have 10,000, 20,000, 15,000. But at some point of time, they'll run out of this stock. And at the same time, America is also attacking their missile sites, their missile storage, drone storage sites. And they're using now B-1, B-2 bombers to strike deep inside tunnels.
Deep penetration, sir.
Wherever they are. Because you and me have seen it number of times, their videos that they have stored it under deep tunnels. So US is also using it. And they have their ground intelligence where their storage are. And they are striking it. So it is a very, very pertinent question that for how long can they sustain? Will they get any resupply? Is the manufacturing system still on? Manufacturing system cannot be overground. Whatever is there, I think they would have obliterated it. They would have destroyed it. Underground has its own limitation. So again, it takes time to make. It does not happen overnight. And on the other hand, Gaurav, I would also like to highlight is what about the supplies of US and Israel? they would also be running out of air defense missiles and systems. I think there's a meeting by President Trump where he has called the arms manufacturer to ramp up and speed up their manufacturing, because their stocks were already low because of Russia-Ukraine war. They were supplying in huge numbers. And again, as you know, you and me have been in this line for a long time, that it takes time to make any missile or launch system. And the way they are firing and the way they are spending for each cheap drone, they are spending 1 million to 4 to 5 million to 30 million missile to destroy one drone or one ballistic missile. So it is a huge cost on America and huge expenditure on that side also. But however, their supply line will continue. They'll get it from Europe also. But Iran has a limitation from where they will get and from where they will replenish.
So let us assume that Iran is getting it from somewhere. And let us say that somewhere is Russia and China and North Korea, sir. Let us assume.
Right.
We are assuming because during the Ukraine-Russia conflict, Iran helped with drones, sir. They gave these drones to Russia. North Korea gave manpower, sir. China gave money through oil, etc. So they have been working in tandem, if I may use that word.
Absolutely.
They have been working in tandem.
Absolutely.
Now, when Iran is in problem or Iran is being directly attacked, not Iran's assets like they were attacked in Syria, Iran itself is being attacked. Do you think the Russians would be helping? Because there is news that Russians are helping with satellite images and real-time locations of strategic assets of the Americans and their allies, sir.
There's no doubt about it, Gaurav. In fact, the way Iran is carrying out attacks and pinpoint attacks, it means that there's somebody.
They have access to satellites, sir.
Yeah. So they have access to satellites, they have access to the intelligence, which Russia is very good. In fact, it is a word known that it is not overnight. They have been established for over the period. And most of the assets like ships, their aircraft carriers or their missile sites, and their in Bahrain, their fifth fleet headquarters, all these things are known. All these factors are there. So all the missiles, are these being guided? Are these being pre-fed? So definitely, I would say that Russia is supplying with the intelligence. That is, quite a number of sources have reflected that. However, the supply of missiles, drone and spare parts, that is another question. Is Russia supplying it? I think if possible, Russia would definitely like to supply. But at present, I think because of their involvement in with Ukraine war, they have limitation, but some part they can obviously supply, because if Iran had helped them during crisis, which I don't, which they are still using it.
Sure.
I'm sure it is an obligation on the Russia to support it. And second thing is, Iran is the only country now in Middle East which Russia can bank on. If Iran goes, Russia loses all the bases and US will have total control. Similar thing is with China also. I think China also will be a big loser after Venezuela. If Iran goes, the China had planned to invest $400 billion, and they were the major buyer of Iran's oil. And this
90%, sir. 90% of Iran's oil goes to China.
So imagine if Iran goes, so that it will be I think like clipping the wings of China by USA by taking away Venezuela and
so first Syria goes, that clips the wings of Russia.
Yeah.
Then Venezuela goes, and by extension also China, and now Iran, sir. Huge damage to China if that happens, sir.
It is the bigger picture if you see. Big picture if you see. If we leave the smaller picture, war between US and Iran and all, impact what you have rightly brought out will be on Russia and China. And they would not like it to go, and Russia would like to say equate it. I mean, the way they were troubled in Ukraine, and China, that they are being bothered in South China Sea by every second day US fleet is there. So China would also like to counter it somewhere or other, and they would like this war to extend. What first point you had brought out is how long can their missile last if they keep getting missiles through land route or sea route or whatever route they get. I mean, then US is in for big trouble.
So now my question is, they say that when your enemy is digital, you go analog, sir. That is how Osama bin Laden survived for 6 years in Pakistan. He did not use the internet. He did not use a mobile phone. He just disappeared. He went 100 years back, sir.
Yes.
So there is no way to track him. Similarly, if the Chinese were to supply missiles or weapon platforms to Iran at this stage, how would the Chinese do it? Aircraft are tagged, sir. Aircrafts can be tracked and tagged in 2 minutes, sir. You'll come to know. There are enough and more websites who do this, and every minute of the day somebody is tracking how many flights left, from where they left and where they landed.
And Iran's complete sky is dominated by Israel and US.
That is one part, sir. Second part is even the seas. It's very difficult to get a ship through.
Yeah.
unless you're talking about a small boat, it just, but that's, when you're talking about systems of that scale, if China were to supply or if Russia were to supply the Iranians, what route would they take? I have something in mind, sir. I just want to know if you're thinking along the same lines.
Yeah. Just
You tell me, sir, what are you thinking, sir? If they had to supply, what would they do, sir?
I think there are a couple of options are there.
Sir.
What I feel is one is through Pakistan.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir.
Pakistan,
China-Pakistan economic corridor, sir.
China-Pakistan economic corridor, BRI, and then Pakistan as a border.
Yeah.
And Pakistan is known to play double games.
Sir.
Not now. Every time, on the one end, they were supporting US and then they gave shelter to Osama bin Laden.
Sir.
So they can play double game anytime and they can do it. And
You're saying, sir, in spite of Asim Munir going to the White House and sitting and having lunch with Donald Trump and sitting at the Board of Peace table, they are not above betraying, because China would give immense pressure on, or would have put immense pressure on Pakistan, sir. To do something.
anything is possible. Anything is possible in this world of diplomacy and intelligence. And Pakistan would say, I didn't know. I'll close his eyes to these containers who are going. And though it's very difficult in the present environment, but this Pakistan is known to betray anybody and everybody. There's no doubt in my mind. If it happens, it can be through Pakistan, which is one of the possibility.
So, from China, from Kashgar, they just loaded, sir. They just loaded in trucks and send that truck all the way to Gawadar. And from Gawadar, it can, or some other part in Balochistan, sir. And then land borders, sir.
Through the land border.
Through the land border into Iran.
It is a longer route, but it doesn't matter. Gradually, the supplies will keep taking place and then could be in a isolated, instead of big convoy, small little, in the packet way, small little, 5 to 6 vehicles go and keep delivering it. The fact is, it will continue the supply. And second thing, China can send spare parts. The major thing is made by Iran inside. And rest of the small little parts, critical parts are sent by China, which doesn't take much volume. And then this will be a bigger catastrophe, I think bigger challenge for US and Israel, because they want to finish the war at the earliest. And the war prolonged, it is beneficial for Iran. And that is where
beneficial for China also, sir.
Beneficial China, beneficial Russia.
Yes, sir.
Because they want to keep America entangled here in Iran for as long as possible. They may not be bothered about Israel, but definitely with the US, they would like to keep them entangled, because Russia is feeling the pain of Ukraine and China is feeling the pain of what is happening in South China Sea.
Oh, so what you're saying is that because the Americans supplied weapons to the Ukrainians to fight against Russia, today Russia is going to supply weapons to the Iranians to fight against the Americans. That's what you're saying, sir?
Absolutely. No, Russia would like to.
Yes, sir.
That's why they're giving intelligence. That also makes a lot of difference. They're getting intelligence.
So satellite images, GPS coordinates, everything they're doing.
Everything, that makes it like, instead of firing 10 missiles, then you need only one missile. That makes a lot of, the moment you attack pinpoint target. Second thing is, Russia would also like to send, but how much can they send the hardware and weapon systems is because Ukraine war, but then they still have a huge capacity to...
China has the capacity, sir.
China has a huge capacity to supply. So that will be a big challenge. What is the first question you said? How long can Iran sustain? They have a limited stockpile that cannot last forever. But if they get the resupply, that will be a big challenge.
They can create chaos, sir. And they can create a mess for America and Israel. My last question to you is, sir, that very interestingly, you were saying that two things Iran is going to focus on: economy and body bags. While we were having coffee in my office, sir, and very interesting, sir, your statement that so more American deaths means popularity of Trump goes down, and midterm elections in November, Trump is on the back foot. Iranians would know that, sir. And second thing is the economy, which is why they are attacking Abu Dhabi and Dubai and all of that, shutting down sea lanes, shutting down Strait of Hormuz, etc. So this is what they're doing. And you think that this is strategic positioning by Iran, sir?
Absolutely. Energy crisis. The energy prices have already gone up. Second thing is expenditure of US on defense. Trump has already said, I want 500 billion more. 1 trillion budget was there. Now he wants 1.5 trillion dollars. And from where they'll get it? He said this will be made up from the extra tariffs which we are getting. Imagine the tariffs he is getting, and then out of tariffs they are making the defense budget instead of spending on the people. And third thing is body bags is very critical. Each country has psych. Iran will not be bothered. If
Russia
5,000
will
people
overwhelm.
die, 10,000 people die, it doesn't make any difference.
Yes, sir.
But in America, if 500 people, 500 body bags go, or in Israel, 500 people
Trump will
die,
win the elections.
and it will be a major crisis, and then it keeps going. It will not end.
And television cameras, sir, every single day at the airport, coffins are coming out, sir.
So, when you think of the strategy, one has to think not from your point of view, you have to think from the other's point of view, how the other will respond, how the other's reaction would be. Every country will not respond in the way which we think.
So, thank you very much for joining us, sir. Lovely, lovely conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, with Major General Sanjay Soi. You know, one thing came out that sir said. Iran, in the end, will capitulate because the firepower of America and Israel is simply too much. But it is in the interest of Russia and China to prolong this war as much as possible. The more the economy goes down, the more body bags that land in America, it's going to be extremely difficult for Donald Trump to explain to his constituency, to the voters of America, that, hey, this man said that I am the president of peace. And then he declares war, and American body bags come back home. Thank you for watching the Daily Brief by Defense HQ. I'll be back again with another special guest. Till then, Jai Hind.